Hello? Hello? Anybody? Anybody? I want the winner to sign my Tomac t-shirt. You know, the guy that went from 40th to 3rd? Maybe he goes by the name of Stuart?
This is the Moto Gods. Stuart, retire. You're looking for a Frenchman.
I think you're right. Marv. Marv.
No, dumbass. The one you can't pronounce his name.
Dylan? Dylan, where are you? I need an autograph.
You know, you usually follow the lead of the race, and he's moving up through the pack faster than anything I've ever seen.
Welcome back, subscribers. This is Johnny Hopper, and in today's video, I'm going to just kind of recap some of the key points that I liked about the race. So, without further ado, getting right into it. IronMan National, the track. This track is extremely gnarly as far as ruts go. I know it's hard to compare to Loreto because Loreto was pretty freaking gnarly, but these guys had rain past couple days up to the race, and the track crew, I think, did an extremely good job because even some of the riders were going, this track isn't as gnarly. It's a lot smoother than it's been in the past because they didn't really dig it super deep because of how much rain and moisture that they got. This track is super fast and it has some really big booters. I always loved the double going up the hill and then you turn and then the tabletop going down. I had to go from the way outside to be able to seat bounce that sucker to get it over it. You know, these factory bikes come from the inside, all these huge ass bumps, and still are able to tabletop down it. And then they did make some track changes, so as opposed to going down, turning, and then going right back up and heading for this super huge triple step up, well, now you go into these, I like to call them the Washougal switchbacks, which I thought was really cool. And then you'd go onto this other big tabletop, and then you had a back straightaway that had a couple different little rollers in it, which some of the riders like Tomac were able to find a little kicker, and as opposed to just face it with your front wheel, was able to actually jump over it. And I don't think TV does it justice how technical that is, because these guys are hauling ass into this face that they're supposed to bounce off of, and then you have a dude that's just gonna swing for the fences and get over it, because I don't know, it's factory suspension. You gotta have good faith in your motorcycle. That just seems sketchy. If you were to barely tip it wrong, man, you're endoing down a little hill into another face, which just seemed insane. The shadows, and a rider that's been there, the track has some gnarly shadows, and when you have super deep ruts, the shadows are horrible. I know my hometown national, Lakewood, when they used to have the night races, because they said it was one of the most difficult races because of the altitude, so they were gonna race it at night. Some bullshit or something, but they had to make the track actually really smooth, because when you have stadium lights, you can't really see the bumps and ruts, and it's just dangerous. So then just moving on, the qualifying. I thought these guys said that they were only going to allow 76 riders into these motos. Maybe Indiana just has some different regulations with their mayor, so they were able to open it up to 80 riders to sign up, because they had 88 entries in the 450 class. The 250 class, I think it was right around that same 76. But just talk about the 250 class. My boy on the two-banger, 125, qualified, I believe, 29th, and went 26-24. Don't quote me, but I believe he got 25th overall on a 125, and makes it better. It's a TC 125, a Husky. So let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Dylan, Ferrandis, dude. Dylan, the Dillster. I don't think that's a good nickname. Epic rider. Guy just needs to move up to 450. They just need to give him the championship, because that first moto, I even asked him in the press conference, because he's not known for getting the best of starts. But did you see him in that first moto? He starts on the far left side, which kind of gets pinched off. Like, why are you doing this if it wasn't for some sort of strategy? And his strategy was just that. Jump off, move off the track onto the dry dirt so that you're not stuck in the deep mud, and you can just pretty much motor around everybody.
Dylan, this one's for you. That first moto, you started way on the inside. Was it strategy to try to move over onto some of the dry dirt and stay out of the mud so that you could get some more traction on that rear wheel and get a good start?
Yes, exactly. I feel like they didn't rip as deep on the right side than on the rest of the gate. So I feel that was more safe. And when we do the test start in the morning, like the middle of the gate was really, really deep. So yeah, just was I tried and it worked. So was good.
It doesn't hurt that he's on that Yamaha that seems to be faster than every other bike out there, like a 450 compared to a 250. But he was able to get the whole shot and win the race by 25 seconds and probably didn't push that hard. And then in Moto 2, freaking goes from 40th to 3rd, last place to 3rd. I can't remember the last time I even saw that. Was it 2003, James Stewart, Budds Creek? Yeah, he came back to win. That's insane to me. And then he lost, but I think 10 seconds behind Jay Martin. I'm using the term again. It looked like he was on a 450 compared to everyone else on a 250. He just was running around these guys like they were standing still. Epic performance, and I don't think people are giving him the credit that is due. He even said on the podium that it was easy. I just needed more laps.
Was not that hard. Like, I just ride the fast I can. But
And I don't know if you guys know, but his diet is completely plant-based. So I want to be on the same diet as him, because if you can ride that hard for 35 minutes, you're doing something right. So maybe me having, pork and beef isn't really the way to go when it comes to endurance. I just was blown away. Just completely, utterly blown away. Jay Martin. I'm going to say that this guy doesn't get enough credit. A fused back. This guy spent almost 2 years recovering, was told that he might not even walk yet, and it's arguably worse of an injury than Roxon's. Yeah, Roxon went through all these different surgeries, so did Jay Martin, and not to diminish, it's Roxon, okay? Roxon's going to be on a pedestal no matter what. The dude is epic proportions, okay? Went through hell and back, able to win a Supercross, and hopefully we'll see him win, some more championships before he retires. With that being said, Jay Martin was the dude that was one of the top 450 prospects that was going to get a bigger contract with Honda, going to get all this stuff, and then he just gets hurt. Cooper Cross jumps him. He smacks. His career's over with. He sees Sexton come up, pretty much take everything that he's worked for, and now he's got to start from ground one. This is gnarly. Way gnarly. And so I asked him on the podium.
For you, man, coming from somebody that's been badly injured, I know you've won 2 races in a row now, and you got your first moto win. Was this more for you, or is it more for all the people that doubted you with your injury?
I mean, for sure, I'd say it's mainly for me. Like, I mean, I had, when the injury went down, 2 of the 3 doctors that worked on me were like, said I was, nuts to come back and to even to race, and to want to do that again. And I mean, I went and got a part-time job to try to understand what real life was like. And, I'm sure everybody's kind of tired of the story, but, I thought about what, the next stage in life would be like for a long time. And, a lot of your friends and supporters that are there, like when you're doing well at the races and you're winning, they disappeared, and I got a sense of what reality and real life is like. And for sure, it's for me. I mean, the win today was a big deal, and Yeah, just trying to get better and dig myself out of that hole from the injury back in 2018.
It's pretty cool that he's got 2 wins in a row, a moto win. We'll see where we go from here at Redbud, because Redbud's going to be Friday and Monday, which is going to be interesting because that track is gnarly. And I want to know what gear that these factory bikes hit Larocco's Leap in. My 450, you know, I was geared a 1348 on my 450 back in 2015. I'd hit that fucker in second gear, wide open. Second gear, and it would make it. And Heart Raft, dude, this guy, talking with him a little bit in the press conference, just seems like a genuine dude. You know, he's fortunate of the opportunities that he has. He's not super arrogant. He doesn't have a ride for next year. So he's doing everything he can to try to prove that he is deserving of the opportunity that he's been given. Almost like Mitchell Harrington at the Pro Circuit ride. These guys, their future is uncertain. And then what sucks is Geico Honda is now not going to be Geico Honda anymore. Geico is pulling the strings on this guy and ditching the factory rig, or at least the sponsorship for next year. And it's just like, I know my last video was talking about sponsorship. It's not good when you've got some of these bigger sponsors just leaving. It means we're doing something wrong, that they don't want to stay here. Because, yeah, sponsoring, you don't really get a whole lot of revenue from it. I mean, at least in the sport of motocross, maybe in NASCAR and stuff like that, they go, oh, yeah, we gave you $10 million. We made 12. We're going to do it again. Motocross, oh, yeah, we gave you $1 million. We made 100,000 back. It's one of these issues that we need to have a conversation, speaking as the sport in whole, as to why this is happening. Moving on to the big boys, the full 50s. So we have to talk about Tomac. 2 DNFs last weekend. We pretty much thought that he was going to win this race. I mean, it's Tomac. I find it really interesting that he qualified 13th and then ended up making 13 points on Osborne. Conspiracy? Is it ironic? What's going on? I don't know. Am I just putting correlations where they have no place? Potentially. Yeah. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it was Tomac. He was able to put it together. There's not much else you can say that Tomac did the Tomac thing. He went 2-1. Marvin, I really wanted to ask him another question on the podium as far as bike setup. These guys always talk about bike setup, but they don't give the fans or anybody information on bike setup. Did you guys go stiff or slower? Did he go soft or faster? I mean, give us something. And down in the pits, I used to ask questions like that, and whether I was at Arena Cross or the pro motocrosses, I would always get some bullshit answer from somebody because they just try to fuck you up, which is dumb. So if you're at the races, try to find somebody that is respectable and will tell you the freaking truth, as opposed to, yeah, you know, you're supposed to have 8 inches of slack in your chain. That's just how you do it. No, it's not. You're gonna die. Your chain's gonna fall off. But anyway, I wasn't able to ask that question because he rode just so fluid and smooth, and he was floating over the bumps. He was scrubbing and whipping. You know, he's not a really heavy guy. He's actually pretty light, and so that 450, it looked like the perfect moto for him, pretty much. It was just poetry in motion, how he was riding around the IronMan track. And he was able to win. That second moto, I asked him on the podium, is there any correlation with this was the track that injured you for over a year in that second moto? Did you feel like maybe you just wanted to get through this moto, or what was it? And this is the response I got with him on the podium.
Congratulations on the first moto. You look super fluid, and everything was just going well for you. I know a year ago you got hurt in the second moto. Did that have anything to do with your mental game? Like, oh man, I just need to get it through this race because this race kind of ruined the last year for me. Does that have anything to do with it or not at all?
No, I mean, definitely I thought about it for sure. But then I went out there the second moto and gave my best and try to get the whole shot and I was right there in third, but you learn from your mistakes and I was trying to be obviously maybe a little smarter and maybe more patient and just go through it and through the first couple of turns, not like last year obviously, but things like that happen but now we're back on track. And
The only reason why I asked that question is it's because something that I've thought about. Yes, the body has a magnificent ability to forget. As a rider, though, when you go through something, and this is arguably probably the worst injury that he's had ever in his career, and he's on the last leg of his career, whether he's got 5 more years in him or what, he's more than halfway done with his career. Let's just put it that way. And as a rider, you think about that. As soon as you get on the motorcycle, things change. Adrenaline starts pumping, you start forgetting about that stuff. Off the track is when you think about, oh shit, man, last year I almost died. Or whatever it may be. It's human nature. He's older now. You got a little bit more self-preservation. I generally just wanted to know. He kind of said yes, but then backtracked and said no, had nothing to do with it. It's up to you guys to decide in the comments below what you think. I personally would love to see him go 1-1 and make this an even tighter championship race. And AC, moving on to AC. We all know that this guy's pretty much the fastest dude on the series, but he's got a way of just sending it and hurting himself. You know, kind of. Like James Stewart did later in his career. Well, pretty much throughout his whole career is, Stewart was going to win if Stewart didn't beat himself. AC is extremely talented, extremely fast. If it was just a qualifier, I think the dude would win every time. It was cool to see him kind of slow down to go fast, and he was out front all of that second moto until right around lap 12, and he just jumped off the pace by about 4 or 5 seconds. And we even saw Barsha, I believe, whip by him, and it's just epic kind of FU whip, which was pretty cool to see. I mean, it's Barsha, What are we going to do? But I asked him.
AC, I wanted to ask you a question. You had the fastest lap time around lap 3. Can you walk us through what happened around lap 13? Looked like you started going about 4 seconds a lap slower. Was it arm pump? Were you just in your head going, man, I got 5 more minutes left. I got to put it together. What happened?
Geez, man, hell of a question there. Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned in my first answer there, I am still kind of rounding into form, I guess you would say. Physically, I'm probably not where I was at this time last year. So, and plus, it's just tough to go that fast. Those guys are really good, and I always pride myself in giving it my best. I think, it'd be easy for me to go out, not easy, but it would be easier for me to go out there and, say I was sitting behind Zach and, maybe I didn't want to look like I was going to fade at the end of the moto. So maybe I just ride at, 80, 90% the whole time and I look like an Ironman, but I'm down. I want to win races and I'm going to do everything I can to do that. So I kind of made that decision in my head. I'm going to, try to get Zach and then, try to do the best laps that I could. And I did it for as long as I could. And then about 5 minutes ago, I dropped the anchor, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. I think for me, I can be technically better. I can be more efficient. I've been using a lot of energy at the beginning of the first motos, just kind of being excited. So that's just stuff I can work out on my own. And also just as the season goes on, I'll continue to get stronger and build and hopefully put myself in those positions and, hopefully come out on top one of these days.
Yeah, you're doing well. 35 minutes is a long time to be riding as hard as you guys.
And yeah, if we know anything on my channel, I talk about drugs and performance and other stuff, and so it's left up to discussion. 35 minutes plus 2 is a long time to be pushing at 100%. I mean, try to just run out, sprint as fast as you can. You're not going to be able to do it for much longer than maybe 30 seconds, a minute, you know, and these guys at the professional level are doing this for 35 minutes in heat and humidity. You know, it begs the difference is if I'm not going to do it, if I was going to do it, how would this play out? And then you start seeing things of this nature fall into place where riders are falling on their face and whatnot, you know? So to AC's argument, it's a pretty good indication that he might not be doing anything because he fell on his face and was going 4 or 5 seconds slower. You know, lap times don't lie. Not that I'm putting words in anybody's mouth, just saying. This stuff has a weird correlation. How things go. Lap times, cheating, not cheating. Down here. Where's the line, guys? Where's the line? Where's the line? You know, I haven't heard anybody get drug tested this year so far. Is it just because COVID? So USADA has to stay within 6 feet of the riders? So it's okay, you can pee at me if I got a whole cup right here. And I'm gonna bring it back to the lab, but I can't walk into the lab because I gotta be 6 feet from the lab. So let's say we're good, get through these 9 races, and then I'll be banging on your door later, if I'm asked to do so. Another interesting thing was Bogle. The dude can't catch a break. We saw him just going super hot into that first turn, I believe Moto 1, and it almost looked like he just grabbed too much front brake, or maybe somebody cut him off, but his front end just started washing, and then all of a sudden it caught traction. Maybe it was just some mud, and then it slid, caught traction, and then popped up, back end swept, hit the tree, came back, looked like he hit his head pretty hard, but then he was back in Moto 2. I know personally, if you've seen my channel before, they have this thing that's called this impact concussion test. And if you guys want to check it out, you can look for it. But it's basically a test that has little dots and shapes and shit that makes it very hard to confuse. It's actually really annoying when you aren't concussed. But when you are concussed, it would make it almost impossible to pass this thing and at least have your standard test score. And you take it again, and if you're concussed, they see how different it is, and if it's past a certain area, well, you're not allowed to compete anymore. The test takes like 30 to 45 minutes. I don't know how you could take that test, get cleared, and go back to the races, unless you just don't even take the test, period. So it makes you wonder, are they doing the due diligence off the track to protect the safety of the riders, to be like, hey, do you feel concussed? I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't able to talk to Bogle to see if it looked if he looked concussed, if he needed to take this test. There's not enough time allotted to take the test and then have any sort of time to relax and get back on the bike. You'd pretty much walk into the Asterisk Medical Crew, sitting there with your helmet that's all fucked up, trying to do this. And then, oh, Canon gives you goggles, and you gotta get back and going. And pretty much the last thing I want to talk about is another privateer, Alex Ray. I guess he showed up on the line, Moto 2, with a flat front tire. You heard me, a flat front tire. He goes out, does the sight lap, then comes back and is like, oh shit, my tire's flat. Looking around, what do we do? What do we do? Well, you know, privateer effort, he doesn't have a little warthog sitting on the side of the track with 5 different wheels to try to switch out and then have him go on his merry way. So what did this dude do? He left the gate with a flat front tire in that gnarly start. And he finished the moto with a flat front tire. And he didn't get last. I think he got 34th. What did he get? Yeah, he got 34th. Big difference between privateer effort, factory effort. I mean, maybe some of the factory guys could have just let him borrow a wheel. I don't know. Anyway, this is Johnny Hopper. Till next time. Hey, it's Johnny. I know it hasn't been long, but thanks for watching, and I want you to get you more involved. So I want to ask some of the questions in the press conference that you guys come up with. So let me know in the comments below, and some of the comments that get the most likes, you know, why not? I'll ask them in the presser, you know. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? Let's do it, guys. Ask away. Brah! I already did that.